What is going on, investors? Back again, another exciting stock analysis. We're going to take a look at ticker symbol AMD, moving the opposite direction of Intel, which is a video I posted last week. So this stock is performing absolutely sensational in the after hours after reporting earnings just moments ago. So it was like across the board. They did really nicely. So what we'll do is we'll jump in, we'll take a look at the stock chart. We'll take a look at the earnings as well. We'll take a look at the revenue, take a look at the profits. Let's see why the stock is reacting the way it is. You as an investor out there, once you understand when these companies report earnings, sometimes companies report good earnings and the stock goes down. Sometimes they report bad earnings and the stock goes up. In this case, AMD did really, really nice on the top and bottom line. And so we'll jump in here and take a look at it. Just really quickly though, the PE ratio is absolutely phenomenal on this one at 158. It's still a $79 billion company. They're not paying a dividend at the current time. And we take a look at the stock chart. This is actually a monthly view. I had to stretch this out. This goes all the way back to the early 2000s. And this stock has gone straight up parabolic. Now we'll jump in here to let's do a weekly time frame here, and we'll take a look at it a little bit closer time frame. And we see that still this stock has made a huge move off these. It was a $4 or $5 stock, just a couple years ago. And now we're pushing the $70 mark, and it kind of created a little base here, and then boom, it's broken out again. And so this stock has really run. And so we'll come back here and take a look at this stock chart, see if there's a spot where we could actually buy this one. So AMD's on absolute fire. You know that. We take a look at the 3-month ended here. We've got the most recent quarter here. We've got the previous quarter here. I actually like how they did this. And then we've got a year over year. So this is year over year. This is quarter over quarter here. And then the 6-month just gives us kind of period over period. We take a look, man, from a year over year perspective, revenue grew quite a bit here. And even on a quarter over quarter basis in a tough quarter. I mean, this is not a great environment for almost any business unless you're Amazon or Tesla or Zoom or something like that. But AMD is really, really making the most of things right now, and they're absolutely crushing it. We see cost of sales. Look, take a look at this. So revenues just quarter over quarter, they ticked up quite a bit, and this cost of sales stay relatively flat. And even here, this is a $400 million increase here, almost on the dot, and we barely increase cost of sales. So this is a company that is squeezing more margin. We see here we went from 44% margins here compared to 41% in the previous period. And then on a 6-month view, we went from 41 to 45. So they are driving more revenue and higher margins. In my experience covering stocks, when you increase revenue and you're increasing margins at the same time, typically your stock does exactly what AMD is doing, and that's going not necessarily parabolic, but going straight up in the air. We see operating income here compares really favorably. Take a look at this, man, 59 million in the previous period, and now we're all the way up to 173, and that compares really nicely to the previous period as well. And obviously on a 6-month view, we're way up, 97 million in the previous period, now all the way up to 350 million. Shareholders are absolutely loving this. And even on a net income basis, on a GAAP basis, we went from 35 million all the way up to 157. I'm getting excited here. If you're not getting excited, I don't know what's going to get you excited here with stocks. 51 million all the way up to 319 million. If you have owned AMD for a considerable period of time, pat yourself on the back, because this stock is performing absolutely sensational, and they're not diluting you very much. They're not raising a bunch of money, at least from a share perspective. So that's absolutely sensational. Now let's take a look at the balance sheet. I think this is less important when you're performing as well as this company is. The balance sheet probably is not what's driving the share price, but we see assets stayed relatively the same in the period, and liabilities, we've got a little bit of long-term debt here, not too bad. We've got some short-term debt that's payable here. But man, this is a completely, I mean, they've got 1.7 billion in cash, and they've got some receivables here as well. They've got some inventory that ticked up just a little bit, but we can combine these accounts receivable and call this, we'll call that 2.5 billion. And you got 200 million. You've only got 2.5 billion in current liabilities. And then even on the long-term side, not much. So this is absolutely sensational. I can see exactly why. This is why it's cool to learn how to read these financial documents, because you can see a chart like this and maybe not understand why this stock has gone up. But we just saw it from a balance sheet perspective. This is as crystal clean as it gets. It's like a restaurant table right now. They are keeping those things crystal clean because of what's going on in the world. And then when you come up here, we see net revenue rising nicely. We see gross margins rising. This is why this stock has gone straight up parabolic. So what would I do? Would I want to bear shares? Yeah, for sure. I wish I had bought this stock any time along here, any of this run up. I think if this stock continues this momentum, now, it's gotten a little out of whack from a valuation perspective and things like that, and it doesn't pay a dividend or anything like that. So, you know, I would temper my excitement. Obviously, I'd love for it to retrace back into this range. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon unless you get some much more negative news in the company. But what I would like to do, and this is the same advice I gave for Tesla on a video I posted a week or so ago, I'd like to see the stock make this sideways move again. Notice the stock goes up, and then here it went down, but it kind of chopped sideways just a little bit. We chopped sideways a little bit here, kind of chopped around here, chopped around here. I don't like buying stocks when they make this big move. Okay, this is a big impulsive move. Now, what I'd like to see, can this stock create a base up here at this, call it, well, it's actually all the way up here at $74, $75. Can it make a base between 70 and 75? If it starts doing that, you get a couple days where it does that. We can even zoom this down to a daily view. So here's the daily view of AMD, and you see that we had a little gap here. And so what I would like to see is, will this stock, maybe this stock comes back and fills this gap? That's possible. You could get it back down here in 62. I'd feel actually really, really nice if you could come back and get it here, or maybe even the top of the gap. We won't be greedy, down up here at 64. So maybe a $10 range here. You'd like to see the stock come back about $10. That's if you're really, really trying to pick the tops and bottoms. In general, I don't typically try to do that. I'm just trying to give you the best advice I possibly can here. We see here, this stock made a high here, and it really held this mark. So this is really where there's going to be a lot of support. There's going to be a lot of support in the $60 range. That's why I wouldn't mind buying this stock if it were to pull back for whatever reason in the $62 to $65 range. I wouldn't mind being mildly aggressive here, because I think your downside is back down here to 60. I think you're going to see a little bit of support here at this level. But this stock has gone straight parabolic, and when you take a look at the numbers, you can kind of see why. Although, again, if you're a traditional metric kind of guy, the PE ratio, the price to sales, everything's going to be completely out of whack. This stock's got a lot of momentum behind it. We see here it's up 9% in the after hours. Again, if you've owned AMD for any period of time, pat yourself on the back. You're doing really well. And whatever you did to identify AMD, I would keep that up. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. There's lots of earnings on tap this week. Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Shopify. Lots more stocks on tap this week. We'll be back again soon to cover them all. Thanks for tuning in. Good luck with your investments.